few days after it came out that the WWE board had been looking into a $3 million hush money settlement that Vince McMahon gave the former paralegal that we later found out was to be Janelle Grant. Ryback had uploaded a video on his YouTube channel, the Vince McMahon NDA scandal. He talked about some quite interesting things about saying that there was a Kaitlyn and Triple H story out there, and also a John Cena and Alex Riley story out there that he thought the WWE board should be investigating. This video didn't gain huge traction at the time. It's got about 11,000 views now. I, about almost 3 weeks ago, started getting into this stuff, and I played the clip. And then about a week and a half after that, the Cafe de Rene guys, they reacted to the short clip of Ryback talking about the Kaitlyn and Triple H story and the John Cena and Alex Riley story. So it has been making some waves. Some of the wrestling news sites have picked this story up. My shorts video, the Kaitlyn and Triple H story out there, is now 8,800 views. And with this, I want to go back to the very start then, because I want to I'm trying to get into the stuff of finding out exactly, is there something there to this whole thing, this story with Kaitlyn and Triple H. So I'm going to react to a clip again. So it's a brief 1 minute clip with the stuff that Ryback, he about mentioning, to do with Kaitlyn, Triple H, and then there's Cena and Riley as well. So here we go.
Because they are notorious for getting people to sign non-disparagement agreements, NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, where they'll come to terms on the shady things that happen. And here, take your hush money and go away forever. And that has happened. And what they are finding is there's quite a bit of this. And there's stuff that I have that I've not released. There's stuff, and I'll give you guys. There's a Kaitlyn and Triple H story out there. There's a John Cena and Alex Riley story out there. And if the board investigates it, they're going to find some stuff. They're going to find a lot of stuff. And there's a lot more than just that. There's a lot of top WWE executives with a lot of diva stories. And that's why I encourage the divas to get out there and speak up.
And with that, he added on about saying there's a lot of top executives with diva stories as well, and urging the divas to speak out. And that's one thing, because with this 67-page document with a lawsuit filed by Janelle Grant, there is mentions, a good few mentions there to do other executives were named in this. That other executives knew what was going on. She believed that they were going on based on kind of the funny treatment that she had received. And with, first off, the whole Kaitlyn and Triple H thing, again, it is a bit of a funny one to me, because we've never heard any stories, any rumors before this, and usually when something happens backstage in WWE, usually the dirt sheets are quite quick to pick up on it, right? Usually there's someone that stooges off to the dirt sheets that something happened, there's been an incident, there's been an altercation, and then they report on it, at the time or shortly, just after the time. And so I don't know, I feel like Ryback, he must know stuff, because Ryback was there. Ryback was, a fairly big name at one point, was on the roster for about 4 years, from around, I think it was like the Raw after WrestleMania 28 to about up till WrestleMania 32 time. So he was there. He was on the show there with Kaitlyn, and then he interacted a lot with Triple H. He said that Triple H had to do a lot with the development of his character. So I feel like he might know something. But then again, it could just be Ryback making stuff up and talking nonsense, for all we know. But with this, so I tried to do a bit of digging to see if there's anything there, if there could be anything to this whole Kaitlyn and Triple H story. And one thing, there was a promo back in Raw 2013, and it was an in-ring back and forth on the mic with AJ Lee, who was the Divas champion at the time, and Stephanie McMahon. And Stephanie McMahon, I guess at this point, was kind of like a tweener between being a heel and a babyface, and AJ Lee was the heel. And this went on for the back and forth for maybe like a good 4 or 5 minutes. And then 2 minutes before the end of the segment, Kaitlyn comes out, and she's in a feud with AJ at the time. She's the babyface, and then all these of her babyface divas are behind her, and she's at the top of the ramp. And just as she's about to speak, she's going to get real into it, real right into her promo. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, Stephanie McMahon comes up, and quite tense, quite confrontational. And yeah, this is in character, but at the same time, you know how Stephanie can be with how she was always cutting the guy's nuts off in promos. And then she does this whole thing of like, oh yeah, I understand, I know how you felt with all this, but don't you ever interrupt me again. And that goes for all of you back there. And so really like belittling her. I know this is on screen, but let's not, it wouldn't surprise me if this is something that the kind of way that Stephanie comes off, behind the scenes too. And I do kind of remember at the time that there were kind of some rumblings that she did this because there had been an incident or something had happened where I don't know if it was like a meeting or something, and then someone like just like a talent just barged in or something, or there's something backstage or somebody's having a conversation, maybe Stephanie, and a talent interrupted her, and it maybe was just like kind of a weird way. It was her, WWE trying to send a message to the girls. I don't know, but I do vaguely remember hearing something about that. But with this, Kaitlyn had done an interview with this guy, Muscle Man Malcolm. And this is this is kind of a clickbait title, but then we never know. There could be really something there. Kaitlyn's beef with Stephanie McMahon, and he asks her about this promo going back. This is 2013 time on Raw. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play the clip and I'll react as it's going along.
Yeah, and there's like a lot of like bad guys and like evil characters in pro wrestling. One of them is Stephanie McMahon. And there's like a segment that she just randomly just started calling out women, and like I never understood it. You guys know what I'm talking about. It's like she just got on the mic and just started like belittling you. I just don't understand it. Like, was there a story behind that? Like, why was that a thing?
To be honest, there was like so much going on at that time in the with the women's division and all the stuff that AJ and I had done, and then there was like Total Divas and stuff. It was, to be so honest, it was all very confusing. It was like all so confusing, and I don't actually really remember like the substance of like what they were trying to do. Yeah. But I do remember it being like, number one, I was like, holy shit, I have a segment with Seth McMahon, on the mic, live TV. And so it was like a very cool moment for me, just in general in my career. But also I was like so nervous, like so like, because it's Seth McMahon. And I always have a lot of love and respect for her, like just her vision and the way that she went about things. But yeah, it was a little weird. And it was weird. I like
behind the Divas Revolution, the women's revolution.
Be awake at night, being like, what was happening? Because that was like 10 years ago, and I feel like that part of my career was just so tumultuous, and I don't really remember. I think I was like in a state of like panic a lot of the time, or just like confusion a lot of the time. So I'll call you up and let you know when I think of it.
We'll get the scoop eventually. It's all good.
I don't think she did call him up eventually to let him know exactly what happened there. But that clip there, and I don't know what you got from that. And I'm saying to myself, was there something to get from that there? I don't know. Was she being fully genuine, just giving an honest response and the whole thing, oh, I'm going to stay up all night and think about it, oh, I'll call you and let you know? Or was that her way of, like, a real nice way of saying to the guy, hey, look, I'm not going to comment, I'm not going to explain exactly what happened behind this, because I guess there was something behind it. And then she seems like a real nice person that she's never just going to say, no comment or next question, please. So I don't know. I mean, again, she said she's got a lot of love and respect for Stephanie McMahon. So again, I don't know. Maybe there's no heat there. I don't know. But I get, through that whole interview, she does keep saying and describing around that time, shortly just before she left WWE, she kept describing it as a tumultuous time. Tumultuous was quite a word that was a word she used, about good 2 or 3 times. Because so with Kaitlyn, I mean, Kaitlyn was, she on the 8th of January 2014, Kaitlyn decided to terminate her contract within WWE. Her final match aired that night on Main Event, where she lost to AJ Lee. Right. So with this, I mean, it did kind of come out of nowhere, I feel, because at that time of kind of like mid 2013 time, I felt like kind of like Kaitlyn was getting over, and then AJ was the, she was the heel, and she was good. She was really real entertaining character, and she was very heavily involved on the show back in 2012 as well. But Kaitlyn was getting over there, and there was that little angle there, her, Kaitlyn, Ziggler, AJ Lee, and Dolph Ziggler. But then about 6 months after that, she's decided that she's had enough. She's leaving WWE. So I don't know what happened there. Did something happen there behind the scenes that made her leave? Did she just decide, no, this is too much for me, it's not for me? Or it was just too grueling, the schedule? I don't know. But it does seem a bit weird that she just decided to terminate her contract within WWE. So it wasn't the whole thing of, she got released and they wished her the best of luck in her future endeavors. Because usually that's how it goes down, right? And you hear that that's usually how they want it to go down. McMahon. The McMahon hates it when it's somebody that quits. They always want to do the thing of that they've fired them, that like to make it, I guess it's the perception thing, right? That this person no longer has any value. They've outlived their usefulness. So she decided she decided to terminate her contract, and then she had a match on Main Event, one of the secondary shows, and then she addressed in a promo. And I never followed the Main Event, so I don't know if that was something that was on air on the show or it was off air. But it does seem a little bit weird, a bit random that just all of a sudden, that she decided to leave, And I suppose AJ was her close friend behind the scenes, so I suppose you could say that was a good thing that what they did, her and her, I guess one of her best friends on the roster, they had a match, good way to go out. But but that's one thing to point out, that usually they release talent, not just all of a sudden that they terminate their contract. But then she had said that she was going to retire, and she had considered herself retired, and that she was going to focus on her marriage or clothing line, and then she had a couple of her businesses that that she got involved in. And there's one thing, if people are speculating, well, was there something that happened there inappropriate with Kaitlyn and Triple H? Did it involve an NDA? Because it was quite, the way Ryback worded it was, he's talking about non-disclosure agreements, non-disparagement agreements, and then about 10, 15 seconds later, he's saying there's a Kaitlyn and Triple H story. So it's like, you kind of like, I find myself trying to I guess I've got to do the math on that, and I'm trying to get 2 and 2, and I'm figuring, well, that must be what he's trying to say, right? There's something there, like a story that they've wanted to cover up, and we might never hear, she might never speak out, Kaitlyn. So what exactly is it? This story? What's the story? But I did try and do some digging, and with this with Triple H and Kaitlyn. So this was a photograph here, and this was September of 2014. So this is about 8-9 months after Kaitlyn left WWE. So this is Kaitlyn and her husband, PJ Braun. That's her ex-husband, by the way. And they caught up with Triple H at the Olympia event in Las Vegas, where several wrestling stars were that weekend. And that's the photograph there of Kaitlyn, Triple H, and then there's our PJ Braun. That's her husband, well, our ex-husband now. So there's a photo there. Kaitlyn, Triple H, the husband, all close. That's not to say that there's anything was going on, or really something was happening with Triple H and Kaitlyn behind the guy's back. We don't know. But then there's a photograph there. But that doesn't have to mean anything, right? And again, that could just be a thing. They happened to meet up, they caught up, and and Kaitlyn was still on good terms with the people there. So that's what it could be, right? But Kaitlyn as well gets into this stuff here, and maybe there's something a little bit to this. I don't know. Maybe it's a case of me reading too much into this. That Kaitlyn was talking about leaving WWE, and then it says here Triple H and Stephanie clothes shopping. So I'll scroll down. So the WWE taking her shopping. So she says, here's a cool story. When I was a Divas champion, Triple H and another WWE executive, basically in the nicest way possible, told me I wasn't dressing myself the way I should, and that they were going to take me shopping, get me some new looks, and get some custom gear made. They really believed in me. So for a few weeks in a row, I go to New York and I had meetings with Stephanie and Hunter in Stamford at WWE headquarters. They wanted me to be ready for any opportunity that was thrown at me. So with this, she's saying that Triple H and another WWE executive said that they thought she wasn't dressing the way she should and they were going to take her shopping. That Triple H. So it sounds like from what she's saying that she actually went out shopping to get you gear and it was Triple H that did that. I mean, and again, this could be me reading a bit too much into it, but then again, as a male in Triple H, is he in a place to say to Kaitlyn, well, you know, you should be dressing, no, you shouldn't be dressing this way, dress that way. You know, is there something to get from that? And then another executive as well. You know, again, and there's all these things about executives that get brought up, and then even Ryback said about, there's going to be stories about top executives with divas and that, and you know, there's the Carano, there was stuff about him, he seemed a bit of a sketchy character. I remember his Eugene character was saying that he was like hitting on his now wife, like back at something, an OVW show. So I don't know. I mean, she's saying it's a cool story, but then maybe there was something more to it, you know, with Triple H wanting her to dress a certain way or something. I don't know. And I suppose maybe the thing was, if she was connected with Triple H, maybe it was a thing of, you know, because Kaitlyn was into fitness, she was into bodybuilding. She was doing bodybuilding competitions, I think, going back to when she was 18 or 19. That's what Triple H was into as well, very much at a young age, bodybuilding. So maybe there was that connection there with Triple H and Kaitlyn. That was a large part of the connection. That's how they came close. So yeah, that's something there. But again, there's still not a lot with this whole thing about a story with Kaitlyn and Triple H. It's tough to really find anything here online. In 2018, Kaitlyn was in the Mae Young Classic. They brought her back to be part of the Mae Young Classic in 2018. And Kaitlyn had done a video and saying it was that guy that had a lot to do with the performance center, but he was like the guy to give the use of cutting people or fighting people. I think it was Canyon Seaman or something. He was the one that made the call to her. So I know it was Triple H personally wanted her in at Kaitlyn, but you know, she was brought back to WWE, and for about a month she was there doing that whole Mae Young Classic tournament thing. So again, there's not really much you can find to this story with Kaitlyn and Triple H. So then is that question that, you know, I ultimately have with looking into this is there anything? Is this just bullshit on the part of Ryback? But I don't know. I mean, to give Ryback credit from the clip, he did sound very serious from what he was saying. You know, he didn't seem to me like he was, maybe not necessarily it was total bullshit, but maybe there were slight exaggerations from whatever the story might be. It might not sound as bad, you know, when you're thinking that, when you've just heard about saying stuff about NDAs and non-disclosure agreements, it might not be all that bad, but maybe there's something there. I don't know, and it's anything, it's linked to, linked to her breaking up with the guy PJ Braun, or her ex-husband. I don't know, but with this with Kaitlyn, so if we go here, so Kaitlyn, so she had married the bodybuilder, and this was June 2014, so a few months after she had decided she was done with WWE. But then about 2.5 years later, she announced she was splitting from her husband, and now she said, you married now an entrepreneur, Grant Disiak. So again, it's tough to find anything, you know, there. But then, you know, you saw the photograph. There's Kaitlyn, Triple H, all smiles. The husband, not so much all smiles, you know. Maybe, I don't know, but I think, like, the feeling I have on this is that, you know, if something happened, the dirt sheets, somebody would find out, somebody was in the company, stooge off the dirt sheets, and they would have reported on it. So I don't know if there's really anything to this Kaitlyn and Triple H story. You know, there's the whole thing you could say, well, a man and another executive, were they in a position to be going pointing out to the women, oh hey, oh no, we should go get you shopping. That doesn't work for you. What you're wearing now, you know, that might be the place of more the place of another female, you know, to say that. but again, I suppose that was maybe slightly different times, you know. I mean, it's just different world wrestling, you know what I mean? But then it's different rules apply, you know. It's like, that's maybe not so bad, you know what I mean? What they said about dress differently, when you think of the modern world and these old dudes, exactly, you know, whatever, the guys in the modeling, Karl Lagerfeld or whatever, telling these young gorgeous women to barely eat and be stick thin. So that's probably way worse than just that, you know, people in this entertainment industry like WWE's pointing out to women, oh no, maybe you should wear this thing, that, you know. So I don't know. I just don't know if there's anything really to the story. But at the same time, though, you know, with Ryback, who's been there, was on the roster there at the time when Kaitlyn was there, so he maybe knows things through people. I don't know if it's a thing of Ryback being friends with Kaitlyn, but maybe could be something there. But then it could be just Ryback either talking gibberish, or he's wildly exaggerating whatever it may be, because there is nothing big there that you could point at and say, oh no, oh yeah, maybe there was something going on there. Maybe something did happen, potentially a relationship that was, you know, inappropriate. But I tried to do some digging, and I couldn't really find anything. You know, but then Kaitlyn, Triple H all smiles, you know, bodybuilder, maybe just keeping his just kind of cool hard face. But I don't know. I can't find anything from this. There's more maybe meat to the bone with the John Cena Alex Riley story. You know, from how people talk and then the way Renee talked about it, it sounded really bad. But then when you hear Ryback talk about it, he said, well, you know, people will lose their shit, yes, but then at the same time it'll be effing hilarious. So I don't know. I mean, you never know. It can be a thing of like when, you know, stories get passed about and people talk and it's like Chinese whispers, then it turns into a totally different story. So maybe there is something there to this story with Kaitlyn and Triple H, or it could be just as, you know, the former President Donald Trump said, you know, a total nothing burger. But that's my video for now, guys. So feel free to like, hit the subscribe button, and leave a comment. Let me know if you think maybe potentially there is something there, that there is a story there with Kaitlyn and Triple H. But that's me for now, guys. Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye.